Buckle up, because May 4th brings a cosmic storm of intense energy you can't afford to ignore. We're looking at a fiery triple threat: the emotionally charged Leo moon, the action-driven force of Mars in a fire sign, and the deep transformational pull of Pluto retrograde. Together, these planetary movements could ignite ego battles, power struggles, and impulsive choices, unless you know how to navigate them. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. In this urgent guide, we'll break down how these energies interact and, more importantly, the 7 mistakes you must avoid to stay grounded, empowered, and aligned during this volatile day. Let's dive in before the fire gets out of control. Emotional overload. How the Leo moon can trigger ego-driven decisions. May 4 opens with the moon blazing through Leo, a sign that thrives on bold expression, creativity, and personal recognition. But when the moon, our emotional core, sits in such a dramatic, prideful sign during a volatile cosmic mix, it doesn't just stir feelings, it can inflate them to overwhelming proportions. This lunar placement brings a powerful desire to be seen, appreciated, and respected. While this can be incredibly motivating, it can also make us highly reactive, especially when we feel ignored, disrespected, or challenged. Under the Leo moon, our emotions are filtered through the lens of ego and identity, and that's where the risk lies. Why this matters now? On May 4th, this emotional charge doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a larger, fiery cocktail involving Mars in a fire sign, adding heat and impulsivity, and Pluto retrograde, digging up buried power struggles. That means the Leo moon isn't just making us more emotional, it's making us more defensive, more prone to outbursts, and more likely to make choices rooted in how we want to appear, not in what's actually best for us. Common ego-driven mistakes today: snapping back too quickly when your authority, ideas, or character feel threatened, making impulsive decisions just to prove you're right or maintain an image, refusing to apologize or admit mistakes out of fear of looking weak, turning minor setbacks into dramatic conflicts, especially in relationships, seeking attention or validation in ways that don't align with your higher self. The shadow of the Leo moon. This moon wants the spotlight, but it can distort our sense of reality when emotions are high. You might feel like your emotional response is justified, but under Leo's influence, that might actually be your inner child seeking affirmation. It's not about what's really happening, it's about how your pride interprets it. How to stay centered. Pause before reacting. A simple 10-second breath can help reset your emotional lens. Ask, am I leading with love or with pride? This one question can shift your entire approach. Channel Leo's high vibe. Instead of attention-seeking, focus on authentic self-expression, creativity, joy, leadership, and generosity. The Leo moon's fire can burn bridges or light the path to self-confidence and empowered emotional expression. The choice is yours. Just don't let ego make that decision for you. Mars in fire, channeling explosive energy without burning bridges. If the Leo moon is turning up the emotional heat, Mars in a fire sign, likely Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius on May 4th, is throwing gasoline on it. Mars is the planet of action, drive, aggression, and conflict, and in a fire sign, it becomes bold, impulsive, fast-moving, and sometimes downright reckless. What this energy feels like: imagine waking up with a surge of motivation, but no patience. You want things done now, your way, and without interference. That's Mars in fire, raw ambition mixed with low tolerance for obstacles, delays, or anything that feels like restriction. Mars fire energy isn't inherently bad. It's powerful, courageous, and excellent for taking initiative. But on May 4th, with the Leo moon and Pluto retrograde involved, this energy can explode if not consciously directed. What can go wrong? Lashing out impulsively, especially if someone disagrees with you or questions your authority. Pushing too hard or too fast, leading to burnout, accidents, or conflict. Starting fights to feel in control, or because you're projecting inner frustration outward. Being reactive instead of responsive. especially in relationships or group dynamics, trying to win at any cost, even when collaboration would be more effective. Mars in fire doesn't want to sit down and talk things through. It wants to act. But when action isn't grounded, it can turn into aggression, blame, or domination. Pair that with the Leo moon's ego sensitivity and Pluto's deep internal pressure, and you've got a perfect storm for arguments, broken trust, and regretful decisions. How to use this energy constructively? Take physical action. Channel your energy into movement, exercise, creative projects, manual work. Lead, don't dominate. Fire Mars is a natural leader, but real leadership includes listening. Think before you speak. Use the energy to initiate progress, not damage connections. Set a clear intention before acting. Am I creating or destroying? Is a useful gut check. Choose your battles wisely. Not every challenge needs a full power response. Practical tools for today. High-intensity workouts or martial arts to release built-up fire. Journaling to burn through reactive thoughts before acting on them. Deep breathing or short meditations to create pause between impulse and action. Creative outlets like music, dance, or art. Mars in fire loves passion-fueled expression. Mars in a fire sign gives you courage, but courage without awareness becomes destruction. You can take bold action today, but make sure it's not coming from pride, rage, or fear. This is your chance to be a warrior of purpose, not a wrecking ball. Pluto Retrograde, the shadow side of control and transformation. While the Leo moon and Mars in fire signs burn hot and fast, Pluto Retrograde works in the shadows, pulling us deep beneath the surface. Pluto governs power, transformation, control, destruction, and rebirth. But when it goes retrograde, as it does on May 4th, all that energy turns inward. The result? A time of intense psychological pressure, emotional purging, and forced self-reflection. Pluto retrograde isn't about quick change. It's about digging up what you've buried, especially the things you don't want to face. Toxic patterns, suppressed emotions, fears of powerlessness, or the need to control. What this energy feels like. You might feel unusually raw, sensitive, or defensive, especially if your sense of power or influence feels threatened. People may act from a place of fear, insecurity, or manipulation without even realizing it. It's not just about what's happening. It's about why it's triggering you so deeply. Under Pluto retrograde, things that are no longer sustainable, relationships, behaviors, mindsets, start to crack. The universe isn't punishing you. It's trying to make space for rebirth. Common mistakes during Pluto retrograde: clinging to control out of fear of uncertainty, manipulating people or outcomes to avoid discomfort, avoiding hard truths because they threaten your current identity, projecting blame instead of taking responsibility, resisting emotional healing because it's messy or painful. This retrograde asks, what power am I afraid of losing? If you don't answer that consciously, it might come out in self-sabotage, emotional shutdowns, or trying to dominate others to avoid feeling vulnerable. The deeper purpose. Pluto retrograde doesn't destroy for the sake of destruction. It clears space for rebirth. But you can't transform what you won't face. If you're willing to look inward, this energy can lead to powerful healing, deeper self-knowledge, and a more authentic way of relating to your personal power. How to navigate it? Reflect instead of reacting. Take time to journal, meditate, or talk to someone you trust. Observe power dynamics. Where are you trying to control? And where are you being controlled? Let go of what's already breaking. Stop forcing something that's clearly trying to end. Embrace the shadow. The parts of you you're ashamed of may be the key to your liberation. Do deep inner work. Therapy, shadow work, and emotional detoxing are powerful right now. Pluto retrograde is like emotional surgery. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary. And when you emerge, you'll be stronger, clearer, and more rooted in your true power, not one built on fear or control. 7. Key mistakes to avoid on May 4th during this intense cosmic alignment. With the Leo moon amplifying emotions, Mars in a fire sign igniting impulsivity, and Pluto retrograde pulling us into the depths of our psyche. May 4th is a day where one wrong move can spark a chain reaction, emotionally, spiritually, or even in your relationships. To help you stay grounded and intentional, here are the 7 critical mistakes to avoid. Reacting without reflecting. Why it's dangerous. Under the Leo moon plus Mars fire, you might feel everything intensely and want to respond immediately. But reacting from ego or emotion, without pausing, can cause major fallout. Avoid it by taking a beat, breathe. Ask yourself, is this worth the energy? Acting on ego. Instead of wisdom, why it's dangerous. You might feel compelled to prove yourself, be right, or get the last word. But ego-driven decisions rarely serve your long-term good. Avoid it by choosing humility over pride. Let your actions reflect your values, not your wounds. Forcing control in a situation that needs surrender. Why it's dangerous. Pluto retrograde exposes control issues. Trying to micromanage people or outcomes could backfire and create resistance or loss. Avoid it by trusting the process. Let go of what's not yours to hold. Starting conflicts. You can't finish. Why it's dangerous. Mars in fire can make you bold, but also confrontational. Once a fight starts, it may escalate beyond your control. Avoid it by picking your battles. Some things just aren't worth the blow-up. Ignoring your shadow, then projecting it onto others. Why it's dangerous. Pluto retrograde brings up buried emotional material. If you ignore your own pain, you may end up blaming others for it. Avoid it by owning your triggers. What angers you might actually reflect something unresolved within. Making impulsive decisions. Why it's dangerous. Mars energy wants to move, but if you're emotionally charged, your decisions could be short-sighted or damaging. Avoid it by waiting until the emotional dust settles before making big calls, especially with money, career, or relationships. Neglecting self-care and burnout signs. Why it's dangerous. Fire energy burns bright but burns out fast. If you don't pace yourself or ground your energy, you'll feel exhausted or overwhelmed. Avoid it by prioritizing rest, hydration, movement, and alone time to process the intensity. May 4 is a test, but it's also an opportunity. These cosmic tensions are pushing you to rise into emotional maturity, authentic power, and conscious action. Avoid these mistakes, and you can harness the energy to fuel bold growth rather than chaos.